When's the treble, the dream come true for you?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Manchester United snatch all 3 points on the South Coast against the Cherries of Bournemouth. A big win on the road. It wasn't perfect by any means. We were exposed at times. De Gea having a vintage performance, earning that top billing, top money. But most importantly, 3 points, clean sheet. Speaking of which, De Gea got himself a Golden Glove shout out there. But what's important is United are one step closer to locking up Champions League football this season. 1 point away after the Scouse Bastards lose to my second favorite team, Unai Emery and the villains of Aston Villa. Sir, how are we feeling? How you doing?
I woke up early Saturday morning, brought the boy over to watch the match. I had low expectations. That's the key here. As a United fan, this is a results-based business right now for Manchester United. You're talking $100 million check. That's probably Harry Kane from a transfer perspective. We're dying for the cash. The Glazers are selling, coming up against it. Eric Ten Hag going down to the South Coast. Rashford in training, not in the lineup. What do you mean? Somehow we just gutted a result out. What an amazing goal by Casemiro. Without that, we'd be in trouble. We'd be talking draw. We'd be talking trying to beat Chelsea or Fulham. This is a game of inches, and the Brazilian came through huge for United. I don't know where we're going to get our goals in these last two games. We need at least a point, so maybe the defending with De Gea having a no-howler game at the back. We'll do it. We'll take it however we get it. We need top four. We need those angelic voices, sir. I'm dying for them on the pod. Just
very close.
The threat of Hans and Franz coming back is tough, and also seeing the Scouse Bastards fall a little short is just what the doctor ordered. Arsenal bottling the title, seeing their backs get broken by Brighton, and then the Scouse Bastards coming up short with Jurgen Klopp in the stands. Another great meme. The footballing gods, just the way they write it. What a great sport to see. You got angry Jurgen Klopp in the stands with the airpiece. It's like written in the stars. But Manchester United, this is a story. 97% chance to qualify for top four. I don't even know how you calculate that number, but I'm feeling positive about 97%. Let's go.
I love those odds. You love those odds, and it's all about picking up results. You know what? When you're kind of muscling through it. I don't think it was our best performance, but you know what? What we've seen this season on the road, United sometimes can't get up for it. Can't get up for it over 90 minutes. Don't show up over the second half. Create chances, don't finish them. Probably didn't create as many chances as we would have liked, but Casemiro showing his class. Finally, I think just like brushing off the cobwebs of the last couple of months with the two suspensions that I think have gone against his run and form in terms of productivity and just form. But he looked up to his vintage stuff yesterday, got a goal, was running the midfield play. De Gea played excellent, had like 3 huge saves to keep United in the game, and we get a big win. We move on. We're almost there, sir. We're not playing the Angels yet, but we're getting very close. And all we need is a draw against the Chelsea Blues sitting in the bin, 12th place. You can't believe it. They're closer to relegation than they are to even a Europa League spot. So now it's about finishing as well as we can. Hopefully Rashford is up and ready to rock for the last 3 games of the season, including the FA Cup final. That's going to be a tough one, but top 4, a trophy, another final. It's a pretty solid season. Are we going to get rid of the Glazers? I don't think so. It doesn't feel like it. They're pushing the news out until after the season ends, just so there's no more home games to protest. I feel like that's a sign.
Lots going on at United. Tons to talk about, but it's all about top 4. Talking about Bournemouth, not our best performance. You were right. I mean, the idea that we were going to go down there, get a goal, and not push on and win against a poor Bournemouth side. Instead, we made it a nervy, bail us out with some big saves to Gea, bend don't break against Bournemouth. I mean, it shows you where we were at right now as a squad. And that's why you can't be killing the lads for this, because it's just about getting it done. It's about getting to the summer. It's about letting this manager and the numpties in the front office try to make some moves with this extra $100 million on the line for Champions League football. United need to be back in the Champions League proper. That's what we all deserve. Thursday nights are overrated, in my opinion.
Overrated. They're rated at all. People rate Thursday night football.
It's better than
If you're West
conference.
Ham.
It's better
Yeah,
than the
that's true.
additional league that they invented.
Add-on league.
But the Champions League just gives you the shine. First of all, the manager, recruitment, transfer kitty as far as cash coming in the door that you can rely on. Just wind at your sails. It's what we need at United. We need back-to-back Champions League seasons. We've been yo-yoing up and down and all around. And I feel like Ten Hag accomplishing top 4 and a trophy. No one's going to talk about the skid at the end. If we're able to do it, we're just going to be talking about this is something to build on. And I think this is just going to be a critical point for this club and this manager. But, sir, a quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the America Red Devils, you like the Muppet Take, you want to support us and keep the podcast ad-free. We don't have any sponsors. We turn them all down. I hate ads in podcasts.
Hate 'em.
It's a personal thing. I just hate when people just are like, hey, you're really interested in this thing we're talking about? We're just going to stop and just shill. And we don't do that here. We just do it OG Patreon. You go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/America Red Devils. You support us. You get an extra episode every single month. There's tons of other benefits too. Please check it out. Also check out our website, AmericaRedDevils.com. Fan-generated blog content. Top tier. If you're interested in writing for the blog, AmericaDevils@gmail.com. We want all takes out there. This is what the platform is for. Also, AmericaDevils.store. You want some merch. You want to support us a different way. Patreon's not your bag. Check it out. We got plenty of scarves, plenty of pin stickers, you name it. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews and how they can support the pod.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews, the American Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. Helps us get found organically by other Muppets like yourself. And we have special giveaways all the time. We're giving away free American Devil merch. All you have to do is write a 5-star review wherever you listen, ideally on Spotify or iTunes, and send a screenshot to AmericanDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great review from PayPay77. American Red Devils, happy to hear a podcast from the U.S. about my favorite team. Awesome to hear they have season tickets. Super jealous. Great analysis about the matches, and they are not afraid to give their honest opinions, sir. One thing we have in abundance is opinions. We got lots of them. It's been a hell of a season. The longest season I can remember. It feels like it. Most matches we played
last season.
in a decade. Well, it's a stop-start. Literally the longest in terms of a time perspective. Yes, last season was a lot worse, but like you said, finishing in the top 4, a piece of silverware, a final, as long as we don't embarrass ourselves. That's a great season, given all the other drama around, lack of strikers, the Ronaldo drama at the beginning of the season, the Payet brothers leaving it late.
I think every season's a long season, especially when you watch every single match and you do a podcast. I'm just going to say
with
that,
Europa
yes.
League football.
Yeah, well, Europa League football just makes it
longer,
more of
a lot of
grind.
games. We had the quarterfinals, but we had the quarterfinals. There was more Europa League matches than I ever could have hoped for.
But that's the way it goes. So let's just stay in the Champions League. By far, the worst thing that's ever happened to us on the podcast was losing in the group stage of the Champions League. And then
last
going to Europa
year?
League.
That was last
year
year.
before. It was that was the worst thing that could happen. That's by far the worst, because you're in it. And then what is this new song that they're playing? Why are we in Uzbekistan?
Regardless,
Regardless,
next year. That could also happen next year, assuming we get in the Champions League. Which, hey,
I know.
97% is pretty good odds.
But again, we're talking the league. We're talking about getting in the Champions League. Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 1 at the Vitality Stadium. What a name. Let's get in that 11. Oh, we got the world number 1
He's
is back.
He's back, baby.
He's back.
He's
Put
elite.
some respect on his name.
Elite.
He stood tall. He stood tall in
Had a
that
great
net,
game.
and we
Had a
needed
great
him.
game.
Look, he, like I said, great shot stopper. Can't play out the back, and he has howlers.
That's it. There you go. Best goalie in the world.
Okay, didn't have to do much out of the back, and he stopped some shots. So,
Big
De Gea,
ones.
well done to you. We had Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Varane, center back pairing, Wan-Bissaka on the right, Fernandez, Casemiro, Eriksson midfield, Sancho, Martial, Antony up top. Didn't like that attack. What did you think?
Rashford didn't make the squad because he was ill. Back 4 picks itself. They've been playing in good form. I think Lindelof had a very solid game once again. Midfield 3, we've all grown accustomed to. And I think without Rashi, Rashi kind of pulling Sancho ahead of the pack. Martial is just looking slower and slower as the games go by. Sancho had a little bit going on, but it kind of faded. And Anthony was definitely not one of his better performances. So a little toothless in attack, sir, and I think it felt that way. It felt that way going into it.
The attack that's everything right now that's sputtering for Manchester United. It's how are we going to score? And by the way, we started early. We started firmly. And in the 9th minute, we got a pretty good Brazilian for Manchester United. He scores a worldly every once in a while. 9th minute.
Brooks gets it away, but gives it away. Eriksson. What a clever ball that was. What a goal that is. Well, that is quite breathtaking from Casemiro. What a finish. An outstanding ball to find him from Eriksson. And the finish, well, that genuinely takes your breath away. Manchester United lead.
It certainly does, and it's Christian Eriksen with a brilliant pass. I think it's Senesi who just takes the pace of the pass, and it falls into Casemiro's path, and brilliant acrobatics from the Brazilian, something that he's not really known for. Manages to.
What's even more amazing is watching this goal is that Eriksen has the ball on the edge of the box in a dangerous area, and every single Manchester United player is standing around
I know.
doing absolutely nothing. And then Casemiro makes this like darting run into the box that obviously Eriksen has a skill to find, and just creates an amazing play. And I think that just sums up our attack. Like, good on Casemiro for making the run. We need people. We need movement. We need energy. We're just lazy up front. And like, shout out to Casemiro, and what a finish. I mean, this is something where you score early, you're thinking, we got some dogs in this team, but they all got to eat. We're hungry. Anthony's hungry. You know, Martial's hungry. Sanchez, no, they're not hungry. No, they're not. They're not, unfortunately.
But Casemiro showing a bit of class, showing a lot of class. They're making that yellow jersey that you like so much look so good.
It's green, Glazers out.
Green, yellow,
it's a
green,
Glazers
yellow,
out kit.
Neon. It's something. It is a Adidas out kit, if you ask me, but that's another story. I have to admit, like, the biggest weakness of this game, Bruno probably had his first bad game in a couple months, but that midfield three was so stagnant. They were so slow. They weren't moving around. They weren't moving off the ball, and I think that's why it was a lot of back and forth, shuffling the ball around, and then when we lost control, we didn't defend as an 11, because that front three, they just weren't putting in the same work rate that we're used to seeing under an Erik ten Hag side.
And this is against, again, a poor Bournemouth side. 27th minute, De Gea, big save. United exposed, but De Gea was there to bail us out. 39th minute, chance for United, but Casemiro blasts his shot just wide. Not a lot doing here in the first half for United after that goal. We really sat off. That's not what you want to see against a lower opposition side where you're like playing for that $100 million check. 46th minute, Bournemouth nearly score at the end of the half, but Solanke's header hits the roof of the net. A lot of close chances here. Some one-on-ones De Gea did stop, and then other ones that were close just right over the bar. So nervy here going into halftime. I did kind of know score early. We usually aren't piling it on, unfortunately, especially in the form we are in.
No, I mean, goals are really hard to come by. We're not prolific in the front of net, especially with Rashi out. We got very little going. Especially considering, our most productive player this game was our central defensive midfielder in Casemiro at the spry old age of 31 doing bicycle kicks. And then you have like 22, 23-year-old wingers and then Martial not tracking back. And we're going to talk about the sub early in the second half, sir. He was not moving, wasn't working like you'd like to see from a player who's dying for a goal. Hasn't scored back-to-back goals for Manchester United in 3 years. That says something. But more of the same from United. A little too slow, a little too lackadaisical.
47th minute, Dave saves another big save from De Gea early in the second half. 57th minute, Wout on for Martial. Martial had a good 1-2 with Bruno Fernandes here, getting in a dangerous area, and then right away yanked for Wout. I don't know what the manager is thinking, bringing Wout on in the 57th minute. Yeah, I don't rate Martial, but Wout ain't going to help us score, ain't going to help us defend. 63rd minute, speaking of this one, Wout with like a half-decent volley, but nothing on it. I mean, this is just something like if he shoots the ball like towards the goal, people are cheering his name. It's never going in. Bad technique from him.
Nothing. Give him nothing.
He's got nothing, absolutely, and I'm glad he will not be playing for United anymore. 72nd minute, Garnacho on for Sancho. There we go. There's some energy down the left side. He showed it. Some step overs, beating a man, bravery.
Love it.
I mean, can we clone Garnacho? I mean, this is really it. We're just dying for dogs who want to run at defenders and score goals for Manchester United. Is that too much to ask here? 76th minute, Bruno with a nice hit forces the keeper into a good save. 84th, Dave save. Massive save from De Gea. He really had his work cut out for him today. I know it's been a rocky season, but look, it's a results-based business, and when it's on the line, if he's not letting howlers in and we're getting top four, like, so be it. Like, I mean, this is what we need. Big game all around from everyone. An 86-minute double sub Fred and McTominay for Ericsson Ante to lock it up, which we did do, and we win 1-0. Obviously, eyes turning to the Scouse Bastards game. Got to talk about that as we had that on the laptop, watching both games at the same time. Villa up. Scouse Bastards scored. VAR offsides overturned. And then obviously close to stoppage time for Firmino with the goal. They were threatening.
They gave him 10 minutes. Remember that? That was something
plus
else.
10.
Incredible
They
stuff.
were going for it again. So the fact that Liverpool drew is huge. I mean, you have to say,
huge.
This is the squeaky bum time. You got multiple games on. You're sweating it out. And the fact that they drew at home with Klopp in the stands, you love to see that. Just angry Klopp with the earpiece in the ear, trying to relay the instructions, watching his team just like melt down to a bad season. And, you know, that's just what you want to see as a United fan. If we can get away with preventing the Scouse Bastards getting Champions League and you can watch the Gunners bottle it, you're seeing all of our rivals just become absolute banter FC. You need that banter to get you through the summer, to get you to next season. That's what it's all about as a Muppet.
Well, it'd be great to hear their fan base and have to watch them watch Europa League football, sir. Put them through the Thursday night gauntlet like we've all been in. And you know what? They kept us honest at the end. I think this is not a great performance. We gritted it out. We got a big 3 points. We got a big win at the end of the day, but this was not a vintage 90 minutes from Manchester United, but at this part of the season, it's just about getting results. And here we are, 1 point away from returning to Champions League football. And you know what? The only thing better than Liverpool keeping you honest is Liverpool like falling on their face as they miss out on Champions League football, and we return to European glory nights. So looking forward to it, sir. 1 more point. Let's get a big result on Thursday. Should be able to get a win. This is a dire Chelsea side. Like, unbelievable. 12th place. Can you believe that?
Match stats, United 20 shots to Bournemouth 10, but on target we only had 5 to their 4, 59% of the ball to their 41%. I have to say, the one thing that we haven't really focused on throughout the season, I feel like De Gea has been getting a lot of the heat. Rightfully so. He should be. And I think this is part of the debate that Alex and I have internally. And if you could believe it, we even argue about United off the pod. Too much.
All the
It's
time.
like United is like life, basically. Yeah. The proportion of just absolute, just like De Gea has been dogged like hard. He's been cooked by the fan base. But like, you look at Antony out there, and he ain't no good. He's been really poor for United and been played a lot of minutes. What does it take to get Palestri out there? I don't understand that one. You know, like, there's a lot of moments in this game. Antony had the ball on the break, held it up, couldn't make the pass, couldn't beat a man. And I feel like the attack deserves a lot of criticism as well. I just feel like, you know, the defense is doing their job, the back line, given the injuries. But the attack has been so lackluster for United. I mean, De Gea has been really, when he's been poor, he's been really poor. But he's getting the Golden Glove. He's part of that defensive unit, so something's working. But the attack, look at our goal differential. We are off of it. I just feel like that, for some reason, the attack does not get the focus of the fans as much. Like, Antony should be talked about more as far as where his production is. Sancho, Martial, wow. Like, why did we sign this guy? Why is he playing? Why is the manager always playing him?
Just alone.
No, but you get what I'm saying.
No,
like the board should be criticized. Like, why did we bring this guy in? He's no good. Like, why is he playing all the time? He's not even threatening.
He's no good.
Why is Antony like undroppable? Where's Palestri? Why aren't we turning over the card to see if he's any good? I just feel like there's a lot of questions about the attack and the manager managing the attack, because it seems like his boys like Wout and Antony are just like undroppable, but we have some youngsters. Elanga, why don't we give him a shout? It's just it's the next man up I need to see in the attack, because it's been so stale. It's been so poor.
I mean, the defensive and goalie errors just speak to you more, because it's so obvious, right? If like you let the ball in, like that West Ham goal, there's nowhere to hide. I agree. If this team was at least just matching the XG we were producing over the last 36 games in the EPL, we would be strongly in third place, like 5-6 points ahead of Newcastle. That's not the case, and that is down on that front three, right? We lose Rashford, he goes down. You don't have proper options up front in the first plate. Them bringing out Martial after going to Sevilla and doing absolutely fuck all and acting like he's a new signing. Ronaldo, he wanted to leave. You kept him around, then you replaced him with Wout Weghorst. I mean, they're the ones having a laugh, but I also agree at the same time, like, Sancho and Anthony are 150 million pounds of wingers, and they can't score goals. Like, you know, Anthony's having a bad season. Sancho's having a worse season. I don't think Anthony's having a bad season. He just ain't an $80 million player.
Well, he's not producing. It's just like
he's shut down. He hasn't.
There's a
scored
certain amount of minutes
when's
you
the last
get
time he
as an attacker where you just got to get a seat. You know, it's like how many minutes is he getting, and then you almost need to just like Palestri. What do you got? Elonga.
It makes no sense.
Like, hey, why don't you put Elonga in at 9 instead of Wout in this game? I just feel like the attack has been stale. Like, the players deserve criticism. It's just something where it's not a flashpoint for the fan base. I feel like the attackers are getting a pass, or maybe everyone knows they're no good. I don't know. I just think it's something that isn't talked to as much for United. But you look at that goal differential, and you're like, we have the Golden Glove. We have the most clean sheets in the league. Our defense held up their end of the bargain. It's our attack that hasn't really been going for United, and that is going to be the theme this summer. Looking at match reactions, Manchester United scored just 22 league goals away from home this season. The Red Devils have only managed fewer on the road across the entirety of a Premier League campaign since 2014-15, where they only had 21.
Oof, those are rough days.
And with 17 clean sheets, De Gea has won the Golden Glove for the second time, previously doing so in 17-18. He's the second Manchester United keeper to keep the most clean sheets across a single Premier League campaign more than once, after Peter Schmeichel, and obviously he has the record for most clean sheets for Manchester United, as also the most Player of the Year awards for Manchester United as well. So De Gea probably getting that extension. We discussed it earlier. Hasn't been officially announced yet. I don't mind him being at the club, but you got to get the right guy. Ten Hag needs a keeper to play the ball in the back.
Yep.
Even if he's not as good of a shot stopper as De Gea, as a De Gea fan, we need to move in the direction of a ball-playing goalkeeper. That's what our manager needs. That's what we need. But it looks like he's going to be hanging around. Looking at the table here, Man City won the league. We haven't talked about that. They won the league after Arsenal bottled it again against Nottingham Forest. Arsenal just absolutely cratering.
Sir,
capitulation.
Quick, I want to ask you something. Does it make you sad when, like, every year when they win the league and there's like 17 people outside of the Etihad and it's just like there's more press?
No, not at all.
It actually is like, this is sad, bro. It's like, because there's one thing, Scousers, I hate the Scousers, don't want them going on 20, but like they have fans and the City have no fans.
No, this is what
it's a bad look for the EPL to have a team that's like this dominant and nobody gives a fuck. And I know like their fans stormed the field today. But
why? It doesn't matter at all. Here's the
it's
reason.
like a hollowness to the league by like having
that's
this
what
be like your
happened.
perennial champion, and then they have no real interest from the local fans.
Okay,
at all,
so
seemingly,
if for those who haven't followed it, the UK likes money from
foreign countries,
shady foreign billionaires with human rights issues, like whether we're talking like tons of Russians buying UK real estate, and that culminated in buying Chelsea and all this money coming into Chelsea for sports washing, and then all of a sudden it comes into City via
Newcastle.
Abu Dhabi, and then it comes into Newcastle and could come into United, and if it doesn't come into United, it's going to go to West Ham apparently. And then the moment they decided to make this sports washing league is the moment you're going to see these teams without fan bases, right, that are just like making up sponsorship contracts that literally don't exist and getting side contracts in Abu Dhabi and all the 100+ FFP violations. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing sports washing. You're seeing a club that doesn't have the revenue on its own, and somebody's literally just bringing in the cash, and they're pushing the title. And that's what the EPL has done. Because without the fan base, without the revenue, they shouldn't be able to achieve what they're achieving, and that's why there's such a disconnect. But that's what the EPL wants or has let happen. Now they have this court case. I have a feeling that we're going to be talking about this time with an asterisk. I think it's asterisk FC. I think that's why there are people dancing. There's like 5 people outside the stadium when they win. That's what England wanted. That's what England has done. That's what they've invited these people in, and this is what you get. That's kind of my feeling about it, because Arsenal wouldn't have 3 fans dancing outside their grounds. Newcastle probably wouldn't either.
No.
United, Liverpool, but City is not a real. It's a shell. It's like a shell corporation.
I was just thinking of that because it's like the same scenes every year. Because unfortunately, they've been winning a lot, 5 out of 6, and just something about like that crowd. As soon as it's announced, as soon as it happens outside the Etihad, it just, like you said, this is not a new phenomenon. This is going on 20 years. Chelsea, when Abramovich came in, that was 03, 04, and it's been just like a river of dirty money ever since. City. So they're not going to get charged with anything because, like, what is financial fair play? There are no rules, like you said, because if you dock them points, then you have other clubs that maybe get relegated who could sue. That is something that I'm sure they fear. But at the end of the day, they've just turned a blind eye, and there's nothing stopping this.
Well, walk me through Haaland's deal. So, like, how
much money is he getting paid?
How much money is Haaland's dad getting in Abu Dhabi, like, off the books? Like, I mean, how much? Like, I think Haaland's dad was getting $30 million to his dad, $20 million to Haaland's girlfriend. Like, it's just the way they're doing business is just like, it's off the books. It's shady. They're just, and this is just ruining the game. And look, at the end of the day, amazing team. I mean, they play amazing football. I watch us play Bournemouth. It's just like the most boring, like, blah, blah, blah you got. And you watch City just tear people to shreds. It's like, yeah, it's exciting. Not going to lie.
Terminator team, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to lie. It's exciting watching them just like carve people up and Haaland, Viking yelling. Like, I wish Murtaugh would have signed him for $4 million, but he missed the call.
Yeah.
So that's just the state of football at the moment, and we're going to see how they sort it out. And, I do find it funny that I don't mind City winning because nobody cares. At the end of the day, nobody cares other than Pep Guardiola, who thinks this is the greatest achievement of all time. But, I mean, give you that team, you're going to win. There's no way around it. That the amount of money invested, the players on the team, look at the squad on the bench. It's like, I think it devalues the achievement ultimately, because you look at the 99 treble team, look at the teams we had to beat. First of all, there were better teams, as well as our team was not as good, and it wasn't as guaranteed. It seems like City is just so far ahead because of all the FFP violations that there's no one that can compete, and that just kind of makes it not that interesting.
Well, take some of the joy out of it. I mean, that was fun thing about having a race that turned into a race that ended pretty quickly towards the end of the season. In fact, that was called with 3 games out even before City played today is not something you want to see. But you have to say, like, they spent money, but they've broken all the rules. I'm just saying, like, they have a top front office. They know what they're doing. They churn out players. They do get value. They spent $15 million on Alvarez. They spent $7 million on Gundogan, and then they supplement that with Haaland. Like you said, half that deal is probably under the table. Half the deal is over the table. $100 million Grealishes, and they have no emotion about keeping around old stars like we do. Phil Jones finally leaving Manchester United in 2019 deal. Can't believe he got a deal 4 years ago. And that's what it takes. And you know what? They're not going away. Maybe when Pep leaves, that will like take out some of the sting in their game. I think you're definitely right. I think it's harder to keep around these world stars in Manchester if you're not playing for one of the greats in Pep Guardiola. But whatever, sir. Like you said, nobody cares. And that's what just made me a little sad. It was just like, this is the greatest league in the world. And the team that has won like 5 out of 6. Like, they can't have people outside their stadium like getting fired up other than Jack Grealish.
No, but
it's sad.
It's because it's just a vehicle for sports washing where they've literally paid Pep Guardiola untold sums of money.
He gets more than 20. He must get like double his salary.
You're doing a deal with the devil. Like, we'll give you the greatest team of all time. He has, like, ultimately, this is like, you've never seen a roster assembled like this. At no point, United, we had like the front 4 of like Tevez, Burba, Rooney, Ronaldo. I mean, like, we had some like hitters in our time, but never this deep. Like, never this deep. And the shame is we actually have enough money to purchase this squad. We just have idiots in charge.
Right,
the real crime against Manchester United is that we have spent like
as much
money as they have. We have Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh and formerly Ed Woodward, who had no idea what they were doing, and City actually hired smart people. That's really the crime. The crime is we could have afforded this squad legally. City had to like make up fake sponsorship deals to do it. But at the end of the day, like that's the real indictment of United is we can cry foul all day. We spent basically the same amount of money and we have just nothing. Like we have, look at our team. Like we need 12 players to leave. We spent basically the same amount of money. You look at City and you're like, that's a pretty good team.
And that's the
I'll take
indictment
their
on
bench.
United.
I'll take their bench.
That's the indictment on United, right? It's like they spent a ton of money, a lot of the money. They acted like it came from one place and it wasn't. But they've also been ruthless. It's a well-run. It's one of the best-run clubs in the world, just in terms of like their recruitment, how they buy players. And where we are today, right, is like, what, 200 million on wingers in the last 5-6 years?
No, it was over when Woodward listened to Pogba. It was over when Woodward picked Pogba.
It was over when we picked Ed
he
Woodward
picked Pogba
as
over
the CEO,
Mourinho.
or as the chairman, effectively picking Moisey, bro. Like Moisey, that transfer window,
No,
that
that was
first
Sir
transfer
Alex.
window.
That was Sir Alex.
Okay, but I'm talking about the first transfer window after Gill and Fergie left, and they got nobody other than Fellaini at the last day. And then they weren't like, we need to figure this out and get smarter. Like they did nothing. They didn't hire a director of football for a decade, and that was like a numpty number 2. That's when you knew we were cooked, bro. It's because they're not. They can't look in the mirror and say, "How do we get better?"
Player power, like you also
Yeah, but
have to realize
that was 3 years
there.
before
So
that.
like, but you took a look at all the money we spent, right? And then it came through. Okay, we spent a bunch of money. LVG was a nut job. Then we get Mourinho, and then there's a player power issue, and that ultimately culminated in Jose Mourinho getting sacked. As a result of the players being unhappy, and then we brought in only Mr. Nice Guy, let the players run roost, and then we saw that kind of go. Pep Guardiola runs the show. Pep Guardiola runs the show. Yeah. I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson said, if the players run the club, you will never win anything. And we have let the players run the club. I think Ten Hag has gotten it back finally. We need to back this man, get new ownership in here. But, sir, let's hear what the man himself has to say about this match. We can talk about FFP, Glazers in the last decade. We can whinge for a while about that one.
Not with the performance?
With the performance, were you satisfied with the performance as well?
Oh, very happy. I think first 25 minutes was a very good performance from our team. Maybe one of the in the highest levels from this season. It's the way we want to play football. Pin the opponent back, good on the ball, a lot of movements, good counter press, good press against a good team. Bournemouth, they can really play. Very good structures. I like them, the way of play. And you can see they already saved 2 games before the end. But they didn't have any chance to play out because we dominate them totally. Also, we create chances and we scored a brilliant goal.
How pleased are you with the defending? That's 2 clean sheets. That seems to have underpinned 2 very important back-to-back wins.
From 2 clean sheets.
Yes, and getting the wins, how important is
Oh, yeah, clean sheet is always very important to be successful in a season. And I think it's telling something about our structure, our plan, and it's telling also something about the dedications from the team, the belief they have in this plan and how they execute it. And of course, we have some individual great players in the pressing, in the defending, and in the end, we have also very good goalkeeper who save you one-on-ones and shots.
Chris, you mentioned the goal, Eric. It's not the kind of goal we expect from Casemiro.
No, no. But where we emphasize a lot and where we train on a lot, it's about the movements when we are in the final third, and the movements, of course, who has to come from the front line. Second line just behind, but also from the third line with fullbacks and with Casemiro coming from there. And the movement is great. The touch from Christian Eriksen, I think, is great, and the finish is brilliant.
Brilliant finish from our man. Our manager, hey, look, Eric Ten Hag is playing it straight. We got to win away. We're going to be basically making top 4 with a point in our last 2 games. Like I said, 538.com, 97% chance. So we're riding high. Let's just get on to the next one. On to Chelsea. What a better way to do it than at home. There's no better way to do it than at home against the Chelsea Blues. Hello. Chelsea's success is fucking hollow. All the money you took from the big Russian crook, and you'll never win 3 in a row. Love that chant. We're going to be singing it at Old Trafford Thursday, May 25th, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. I didn't know I needed another midweek game.
Another one. Last one of the
Another
season.
midweek
Last
game,
one of the
but
season.
hey, I'll take it over a 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. kickoff. Lifetimes versus Chelsea. We've won 81, drawn 56, lost 55. First time we played them December 1905, 0-0 in the second division. Last 5 matches against Chelsea.
Incredible.
I can't believe it. It is literally 5 draws. 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 0-0, 0-0. We only need
That'll do it.
we only need a point against them. Something tells me it will not be a draw given those draws coming into this one.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Chelsea just got beat by City. They drew Forest. They beat Bournemouth 3-1. They got dusted by Arsenal 3-1.
Lost to
And
Brentford
they
at
lost
home.
to Brentford at home.
Woof.
They are all over the board. Something tells me Fat Frank's could get him up for a fight coming into Old Trafford, playing the 3-4-1-2. Haven't seen that in a long time.
Where's the striker at?
They
This is
got
like a-
Kepa in net. They got Kai Havertz, Raheem Sterling, Conor Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, Chalobah. He's a cheeky defender. I like him. Aspilicueta don't like him. But look, Chelsea, they got a crew.
They're going to show up.
Silva
I mean, they're
is
like,
going to show up. You know, they're trolls. They're going to play spoiler. They're going to want to make us nervy, do it against Fulham. But look, it's Rashford or a bust. Getting to the injuries. Martin is out. Van de Beek out. Sabitzer out. Heaton's out. And Rashford was ill. So I'm hoping he can make it back. Sir, given those injuries, what is your starting 11 for Chelsea?
here's what we got. Dave saves in net. Who else? AWB, Lindelof, Varane, Shaw. I'm doing Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksson. I'm going to do Rashi up front, Garnacho on the left, Sancho on the right. Sir, who you got in your starting 11?
I have the same starting 11, but I'm going to put Antony on the right and hopefully subbing him for Palestri at halftime if he doesn't do nothing. What the bookies got?
United, the favorites, minus 165 at home, plus 320 for the draw, plus 420 for Chelsea on the road. Sir, given the odds, what is your score prediction?
Sir, you might want to consider betting the plus 420
Honestly.
for Chelsea. Score prediction, 0-0. United, top 4, baby.
Yeah, the draw is compelling. With those the odds, and given the fact that we've had 5 in a row that went 1-1 or 0-0, I'm calling another 1-0. I called 1-0 against Bournemouth. I'm calling 1-0 against Chelsea. I think Rashford gets his goal, gets to 30 for the season, takes the pressure off of the lads headed into the weekend on Sunday, final game week. Whoo, sir. It'd be nice to have nothing to play for and you can play some kids. You probably still play WoW.
Almost.
You probably still
Scouse
play WoW.
Bastards. I was like, almost.
He's still playing WoW.
I just can't wait to play that music on the pod.
It's coming. Speaking of music.
United in the news.
Is there a sale process going on? Is that still going? Oh my God, it's May. It's like May 21st and still going. Nothing doing.
Look, that's not a big deal, honestly. The fact that people are freaking out that this is like a horribly run process, it takes a long time. So you're selling a multi-billion-dollar asset. It's not going to be very fast. And I
Just
said
a
it
fan perspective, I've been saying. Obviously,
obviously,
for an M&A,
but-
this is normal. But
No,
for us,
it
it
takes a
feels
year.
like it's been a while.
takes a year. To run a sale process takes a year. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, if you're lucky 9 months, we're 6 in. I said it would take longer than everyone thought. Everyone on social media pretended to be an expert. They say, oh, it's going to be really fast, and Qatar owns us already. Well, let's see. Been a couple of months and just more brain damage. So here we are from Sportico. I don't even know. I think that's like a made-up thing. Sportico? I mean, like, this is what you
Keep
got
going,
for us
baby.
here?
Let's go. Let's go. This is news.
After 6 months of negotiations.
You don't
and
rate Sportico?
No.
You don't rate. You're not a big Sportico guy?
No, I've never heard
Go
of it.
ahead.
After 6 months of negotiations and bids, a resolution is still pending as the Glazers do not have a unified decision on what they will do with the club. According to people familiar with the process, they're expected to review all their options at the end of May when the season wraps. I think the critical piece here, if I were selling the team, is top 4, right? So top 4 has financial implications as far as like what multiple you would pay based on future earnings for the club. So clearly, I think it makes sense that you have all the best and final. You're looking at whether, I'm sure in the offers and in the bids that everyone's talking about, there's clauses that deal with if they make Champions League football, the offer is X. If they don't, the offer is Y. These are very complicated deals. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to pay you $350. Here you go. It's like there's tons of paragraphs and working capital adjustments.
A lot
and,
of paragraphs.
like tons of it's amazing. You'd be blown away how complicated.
No,
this is.
I'm sure.
So at the end of the day, it makes sense that they would probably wait till the end of the season and then decide what to do. And the fact that they haven't decided what to do is not that controversial. And the fact that they don't know what they're going to do is not that controversial because they hold all the cards. And if you want to buy this asset from them, you're going to have to play by their rules because they got that pry it from my cold dead hands mantra there. And it's going to take $6 billion to do so. So we shall see. I'm trying to separate. Let's just enjoy the end of the season. Whatever happens with this is going to happen. It's going to come out like they're a public company. It'll be announced officially via press release, pre-market, post-market. This is going to be done in a very boring official way. It's not going to be done by Qatari journalists on social media. It's going to be done through the official channels as they're a public company, and the board has the fiduciary duty to do so. So we just have to hold on and see what happens. As far as me, I'm hoping for the best, expecting the worst, expecting the Glazers to stick around. If I was advising them, I think there's a lot of hurdles that this league is going to go through. If you think about the traditional when they sell the sports media to Sky Sports, there's going to be a hurdle where that changes. That's going to go to streaming. There's going to be a huge hurdle of they're probably going to, like Champions League's adding extra games. I'm sure that's going to affect payouts to clubs. I'm sure England's thinking about, well, hey, all these sports leagues, like MLB's playing in Asia now, a few games, I think in like 2 seasons. NFL's playing in Europe. Why aren't we playing Liverpool versus Manchester United in New York City? Why aren't we playing games in the Middle East? Like, do you don't think these Middle Eastern owners are not going to try to gain influence to get some games played in the Middle East, maybe in the winter in England? Who knows? But that's going to lead to more money for these teams, more payouts for the clubs. The TV rights are going to go up, the revenue is going to go up, and the multiple is going to go up. So if I'm thinking the next 10 years, United's going to be worth more. They'll be worth $10 billion in 10 years. Why sell now for $6 billion? Or why sell if you don't think you're going to have a great offer? And if there was a great offer, I do believe you'd be hearing a lot more smoke about it. And since there doesn't appear to be that dead-on, amazing offer the Glazers want, I think you're going to hear hemming and hawing, and I think they might stick around. I don't want them to, but expect the worst, hope for the best.
It's all we can do. The hope is what will kill you at this point. I have to agree. I think there is an element of let's see if they're going to finish in the Champions League or not. But I think ultimately, Glazers, they know what they're doing. They know if any modicum of them are still around the board table or the ownership stack at the end of the day, people are not going to be happy. So I think part of the reason is it's been feeling like they're not going to leave for a while now. Not getting the valuation met, not willing to let go of such an ultimate prize as Manchester United, former Manchester United owners. It does not as glitzy and glamorous as being current Manchester United owners and going to Davos and everyone asking you questions about the greatest club in the world. And I think this is, hey, once the season wraps, people are going to check out. They're going to be focused on the summer transfer window, whatever competitions are going on in the summer, and they're not going to be able to protest the team at Old Trafford if we decide to stay around or not sell the club or punt down the road a couple of years, like you said, because they can get $10 billion, which is probably true in 3, 5, 7, 10 years, whatever, based on additional cash streams coming in. Maybe the club's in a better position, won't be in a better position from a leadership front office standpoint, because we've learned they don't learn, bro. They know that, like you said, the City team being miles ahead of where we are from a squad perspective, as spending the same amount of money, this is something that is a byproduct of the people they put in charge to run the club, who are numpties, don't deserve to be there. So I think they'll be hanging around June 1st or June 4th, like the day after the FA Cup final. It's going to be like, the Glazers decided not to sell. And then people are going to be freaked out, pissed off for obvious reasons.
They don't care about the fans.
Of course they don't care. They don't live in England. They live in Tampa. They live far away from it. But I'm saying is, They don't want the games impacted. They want to keep the fires out as much as they can. What would you do? You'd wait until the end of the season and then let everybody know, hey, we're sticking around. That feels like a Glazer move. That feels like right up their alley.
No, but nobody knows what they're going to do.
No, but I'm just speculating.
The funny thing I did see that is like hysterical is it's like if the Qatari, I don't know the guy's name, but if this like big deal Qatari guy doesn't get United, gonna get West Ham.
There you go.
Gonna buy West Ham.
Same.
It's all games. They're playing games. That's what I said. They sent the guy. They're doing like last ditch bid. Sent the guy on Sky Sports to whinge about how much they don't like the Glazers. The key, like if you're going to buy a house from somebody, make sure to go to the press and tell how much you hate the guy who owns the house.
The neighborhood.
It's a great strategy. It's called the thin-skinned daddy don't give me what I want strategy. Oh, I'm going to go buy this other house now. Look, it's mind games. It might work. Maybe they're threatening the Glazers. I do think that if there was someone that they were playing games with, they were playing Qatar to try to get them to a number, and I don't know if they got there. We shall see. Maybe this summer. Hopefully, this saga will come to an end. But I think at the end of the day, you're following the rainbow, and at the end of the rainbow, there's a pot of fool's gold. It's that I gotcha. We got a debt deal from the Rain Group.
No debt.
Restructuring. We're going to build a new stand, and everything is basically going to be Richard Arnold, Paella brothers running the show for another.
Christ.
Like I just don't believe that we're going to get.
We're not
the
that
change.
lucky. We're not that lucky. We got another decade, I'd say, of Glazer owner. I just because we're not. It's not going to happen that fast.
Well, it's good because it gives me time to get $10 billion, so I can figure out how to get. I'm working on it. So I got a bunch of ideas.
Yeah. Next big app, ChatGPT
This podcast
5.
not worth $10 billion yet.
No.
Working on it.
We're
working on
more
it.
Patreon. Join Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
The highest level. Jack it up to $1 million a month. We still wouldn't get there.
Not a chance. Not a chance. But I got some other ideas cooking here.
I can't wait to hear them. Speaking of cooking, what are we cooking on new contracts?
Okay, Manchester United want to offer long-term deals to Amad Diallo and Facundo Palestri. This has Paella brothers all over it. This is basically like, hey,
We're
these
broke.
kids that we have no idea like if they're any good or not, let's sign them to long-term deals because this is just bad business. You pay this much money for Amad. Look, he's having a great season at Sunderland, but we did pay a lot of money for him, and that wasn't for him to play for Sunderland. At the end of the day, we have to integrate these players into the first team on a certain schedule so then we can decide if we want to offer them long-term deals. But it feels like the default of United is, oh, wait, we paid $30 million for you. We just have to give you a long-term deal because we don't want to pay another $30 million for your replacement. So just more of the same from United. Not exciting signs in the transfer window. It also would make sense if the sale process is going on. How could we really be in the transfer window at the end of the day? How could we have a budget? We don't know our budget if we're not in top 4. So the only way I think about it is if we get top 4, we'd probably get Harry Kane. If we don't, we won't get him.
There you go. Harry Kane or bust. We'll find out. Definitely agree. It's easier and cheaper to re-sign a player at whatever wages that you think he's worth, even if it's not justified. The Ahmad one makes sense. He feels like a player that's further along. Obviously, the loans have gone better, but like the Facundo one's a little odd. We keep hearing how much the manager rates the young Uruguayan, but he never gets minutes, and he puts in the horse who can't do anything besides just like run around, and he's so slow that running around doesn't do much. So like, I don't understand how Facundo hasn't gotten more of a sniff. Obviously, Alonga's on the way up, but even him, dude, even Alonga has pace and a little size. I think he would be more threatening. He would have scored more goals at this point than Wout would if he'd given him the same amount of minutes. So I have to tend to agree. Ahmad makes sense.
Freshening it up. It's not even like I don't even think Alonga has it, but you gotta. It's almost like
you gotta try something new.
Fergie dropped Rooney when he didn't score. You gotta drop people. You gotta like let them know, get that fire going. And it feels like it's just like Wout don't need nothing, and he keeps getting played. And so that's what I'm trying to say. Like, play along over Wout, make him sit, get him hungry, get him fired up.
Any minutes are too much minutes. The problem
exactly.
is
That's
like any
what
minutes with Wout are too many minutes.
You need the next man up to like kind of put a little bit of fire into people, being like, hey, you're gonna get a shot. This guy doesn't score. You're not productive. And also the fact that Palestri is on the bench and Antony is not playing well. for United, not being productive, and we're not seeing what he's got. Look, maybe he's horrible in training. It's like when we signed Fred and Mourinho literally was like, this guy's a bum, like didn't play him. It could be
That
one
was
of
something.
those,
Remember
but
that?
like
That
you'd
was
like
incredible.
to give him a run for 15 minutes. I felt like what we've seen out of Facundo has been good.
So do I. But we
We
just never
trust
see
in
him
Ten
gain the
Hag, but it's just one of the that's a mystery to me was why we haven't seen Palestri a little more, given he didn't go on loan.
I agree. And our lack of options and the fact that Sancho hasn't been that effective. Anthony has not been that effective. And we've been short of goals. Like, why not try Facundo? He's hungry. That's an odd one. That's what I'm saying. Like, giving him a new deal. Like, we hear how much he rates him. We don't see how much he plays him.
All right, from Romano, this is the truth. Manchester United have decided to sign at least one new midfielder in the summer. Regardless of what's going to happen with Sabitzer, priority for Manchester United remains new striker, but new midfielder is new crucial part of Ten Hag, his plans for next season. So you heard it. We need a midfielder and a striker, critical to our plans. Now, what type of midfielder that is, look, I don't want Sabitzer. He had a shot of it, but I feel like with Bruno and Eriksen, you already got the number 10s. You kind of have the creative midfielders.
And
we're
the
dying
injuries.
for a box-to-box. We're dying for a good Fred.
Yeah.
Basically, a consistent
Casemiro back up, a
good
young on
Fred.
Yeah, that would be great. Good Fred. I would look to poach from these teams that are on the relegation slide, right? We talked about the young lad from Southampton quite a bit, who's going to make the fold as well. Leicester are nearly out. But United, this is the problem with the sale process dragging, is because we're not on the front foot ready to make deals right now. You're going to hear about Kane. That will drag all fucking summer. It will be brutal dealing with Levy. And you just have this front office that's just not being proactive because they don't know what kind of bag they're holding at the end of the summer, because they don't know who's going to be the owners, how much money we have to spend, and everything's reactionary.
That's false because you
how do you know
should.
it's false?
Okay, you can control what you can control to a certain extent, and there's players that we need to get off the books. There's deals that need to be done. So it's just the quality of our front office is just our front office doesn't exist. Where's Darren Fletcher at?
Who
No
the
one
hell is
talks
Darren
about
Fletcher?
him
What's he
anymore. John Murtaugh is just literally, he was a trainer at Everton, came over with Moyes and literally bottled the Holland deal, and the guy gets promoted. And oh, by the way, spent 80+ million on an unproven winger from Ajax. It's just absolutely clown show FC. As far as the front office is concerned, look, Anti's not a bad player. Front office is how much can you sell players for? How little can you pay?
Yeah.
And all we do is overpay and sell for nothing. Wait for Harry Maguire to leave for 12 million. We're getting nothing for Harry Maguire.
Less than 30, yeah.
Any good director of football could get 35 at least.
Easy.
Make a market. So I would be focusing on making a market for these players we got to sell, and then trying to create smoke screens to try to get Levy to move, because you need smoke screens for the number 9. Everyone knows we're coming for one, and the way you create smoke screens and then have Harry Kane push for the deal, because you got to be creative in the transfer market. And United has just Frankie de Jong. He's coming to United, even though he says he's not. Even though his agent says
Don't
he's
give me
not.
that. I want no Frankie de Jong.
I don't want any
I
I
want a
any
player
time-
who wants to come to Manchester United. That's it.
It used to be United got business done. It was just done.
We used to not have idiots running the club, but it's been a decade of mediocrity, so that's what you get.
Jumping into fan questions at Miller, Katie J, quote, turned into a bit of a stodgy performance, but can't forget the high of that Casemiro goal. Feel like we weren't going to slip into complacency for the first 30 minutes, but then we slowed down per usual. Overall, thrilled for the 3 points and ready to clinch Champions League, as we all are. We cannot wait to play that theme music on the podcast. I hope we can. I know we can. At Beeps, is Anthony just a left-footed Dan James? Dan James in his first year with United was more productive statistically and costed $70 million less. Shrugs.
Dan James was wicked fast, and Anthony
got beat
is
a man
not
pace.
fast. But I'm not sure Dan James had more goals than Anthony has this season. I'm not sure Dan James had 7 goals his whole Manchester United career. But Anthony's got a lot to prove. A lot of it is that transfer fee. He got done up. He got done dirty by John Murtaugh and Richard Arnold, put an $80 million tag on his head.
It's not even about the price.
Of course it is. All you do is talk about the price. If he was a $40 million player, you would not be complaining incessantly about how much Anthony costs.
Beginning of the season.
But every time you talk about Anthony, you do talk about his price. So obviously the price does matter.
So when you pay $80 million for a player, you don't pay 80 million for Anthony. You pay 80 million for Antony, the Brazilian winger. Let's get it straight here. But you saw us break against Bournemouth multiple times, and he had nothing. So it's like it's not even about the price tag. It's about like we need someone playing on the right at Manchester United that can look at Garnacho. We need someone like Garnacho on the right. We need someone with beat a man pace, take somebody on. I just feel like it's we had our transition moments against Bournemouth, but when you give it to him, he clogs it up and slows it down and is not able to make the right call. That's where I think he struggles. Look, give him anyone who coming from the Dutch league, you got to give him a year. Malacia needs a year. Antony needs a year, right? I think you got to give him a year, and I hope next season he comes out just absolutely just guns blazing. That will be the determining factor. You get a year coming from the Dutch league. Coming from the Bundesliga, maybe half a season.
How many has he got? He's gotten 3 years. Sancho is not looking like a $70 million player either. So that's another player not living up to the billing, not living up to that big money.
This is front office stuff. So, but I do agree. There is a player there. I just think he's young. He's got the talent. Let's see what he comes up with next season. Look at Rashford. Bad season, comes out like a killer. Antony has stutters at United. I hope he comes out as a killer. At Daniel D298-12166. Why the nervy finishes? Our goal differential is terrible for a top-of-the-table team. We got to put teams to bed better. Why Wakehorst? AWB is really impressed in the second half of the season. Dave saves again. Why Wakehorst? He's Dutch. AWB, he's done well. He's done really well. Delo had moments last season. And
I ain't the guy. He ain't the guy. Delo ain't the guy. He can't attack well enough. He can't defend well enough.
He had a 10-match period of time last year. He looked
like
the guy beginning of the season. He looked like the guy, bombing forward, had the pace, had the cross, and then he got injured, and then it hasn't been able to get it back. And AWB just is solid defensively, which is what we need at the moment. So,
and he's looked better and better going forward as well, right? So, obviously lockdown defense. But Delo, it's that consistency. You needed to have consistency at the highest level, and you have to say AWB has been, week in, week out, he's been very solid. Very solid at the back. So I think if you're buying a right back, the one you're replacing is Delo.
So at Jeff V _TMUA, why does everyone keep saying we won't have money to spend due to FFP? Our player sales, club revenue, and Champions League money will allow us to spend at least 300 mil, or am I missing something? I looked this one up with the FFP because everyone was talking about it, but it's Murtaugh alluded to it in an investor call. I want to say
sounds like excuse factory to not spend.
No, the club is highly levered, right? And so the FFP has to do with what you're permitted to spend per your revenue, and I think it ultimately, and I'm guessing here, speculating, it ultimately comes down to how much we've put on the credit card as far as how much transfer fees are outstanding in future years, which isn't disclosed in the financials, but the total amount is, and it's literally almost $1 billion. So when it comes to how much you can put on the credit card versus how much money you're making, I believe that is the ratio. And obviously we don't know the exact timing around the spend. Like Antony, for example, the 80 million is probably over 5 years, and you stack on Maguire's fees and all these outstanding fees, and then that is where you kind of could get to a maximum spend level. It's only because Murtaugh mentioned something in the call. It's not disclosed. Nobody knows the exact figures because the way they disclose the financials, they kind of hide it in their 10K. Last one here at you, Bosun. What a wonderful start to the weekend. Despite us looking like we wouldn't score again, even if we played for another couple hours, we got it done. Special shout out to Count Chocula for making the Scouse Bastards slip. And this is what it's all about. It's squeaky bum time. This is a results-based game. It doesn't matter how bad we look, as long as you get 3 points, Bournemouth away, Scouse Bastards slip up, VAR bails us out, and we're talking Champions League football. It doesn't matter how we get it. We just need to get it, rest up, and be ready to go again next season. What a relief. 1 point left, 2 matches. I'm feeling good. I hope that's not a sign that we're doomed.
No, I mean, at this point, we've gritted it out. We've gotten a lot of good, important 1-0 victories. If you look back, gotten blown out in a number of matches, but we have gritted it out and gotten some close wins, good defense, big saves when De Gea when we need it most. And let's just finish the season strong. Let's finish the top 4. Let's get 6 points in the next 2 games. Gives a sniff at Newcastle slipping up and us finishing 3rd. The final, dude, it is what it is. We're playing a machine of a team. We're playing Terminator 2, bro.
No, I'm not having this word beat before you play the game.
I'm just
Bullshit.
relax, guy. I'm just saying that game is no one's expecting us to win that game.
Oh, I'm so worried. No, we're gonna go to win. We're going Famous Man United. We're going to Wembley.
Wrap it up, bro.
Famous Man United.
God.
Hey, I ain't giving up. We're the Famous Man United.
I'm not
we're going
giving
to
up.
Wembley,
I'm just
bro.
saying,
we're gonna go.
We have a mountain to climb.
Put 2 feet in. Let's go. We're gonna go. Hey, put a mark on them. I want to see some old school English. Red card or so. I want to see us fight, sir. I'm not giving up. I'm not that afraid of. I don't think we're gonna just sit there and capitulate against City. I think we're gonna go there and try to take it to them.
I'll keep you honest when we do the preview.
They're
in a couple
nervous.
weeks.
They play us.
I'm gonna see how much you're shaking in your boots in a couple
I'm not.
weeks.
I ain't shaking it. It's one game. If you were telling me, can you beat them over a 38 game season? No. Can you beat them one game on the day? We already have. So yes, we can. And you know what? They're going to be riding high after winning the league, and they're going to, when it gets to the game that they are most nervous about, it's probably they're going to be thinking about the Champions League. They're 100% thinking about the Champions League, and they might take their eye off the ball against us because they're just going to be thinking that they're going to walk over us because Pep is they're so nervy in the Champions League, and they might take their eye off the ball, and I think you're going to see a human version of shitty. It's because they're going to come down after the run they just went on from the title. They're going to come down, and we might be able to catch them. So you got a little.
I ain't scared. I'm just saying that we got a mountain to climb in London at the Wembley in a couple weeks' time. I can't wait. I love a final.
Holland might have some bad paella. You never know.
I think he just drinks milk.
He might have some
All
bad
he does is drink
paella.
milk,
He
but
might be like,
probably
eat
eats
some bad
raw
paella.
beef liver because he's such an animal. Hey, 90-minute game at a famous stadium where we've had some great success. I always think we can win it over 90 minutes, like you said. So mountains are made to be climbed, as Ole
Yes,
once
could they
coined.
beat us 7-0? That is a
hope not.
possibility.
Let's hope
But
not.
let's hope
Let's
they
hope
do not. That is it. That's the podcast. You like the America Red Devils? You know how to support us. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/America Red Devils, AmericaRedDevils.com, AmericaRedDevils.store. Sir, give us our top 10 downloads last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? How you doing? New York, Chicago, Illinois, Melbourne, Australia, Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, Toronto, Canada, Charlotte, North Carolina, San Francisco, California, Atlanta, Georgia, and last but not least, Brooklyn, New York. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. Couldn't do without you. Big push. We got Chelsea Thursday. We got Fulham, last game of the season on Sunday. And then we have City Blues at Wembley, FA Cup final. Can't wait. It's been a hell of a season. Let's finish strong. Let's get all 3 points on Thursday and wrap it up before the final game week. So 20 times Man United to close us out. City, long way before you start singing that. Here we go.
Everyone, have a great week.